everyone, I am Camila, a Wilton instructor with Tavola, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a quick and easy brownie. Okay? Now, I'll be using my Nordic Way brownie pan, so we're making tiny little brownies here. Okay? And I'm going to tell you first what I am going to be using. So this is a really simple recipe that you can make at home in less than an hour. So we have unsalted butter, we have sugar. Now, I'm using granulated sugar, however you can use golden castor sugar. I'm using 2 eggs, and in this recipe it's not necessary for your eggs to be at room temperature. They can be cold straight from the fridge, it's fine. And I'm using large eggs. We have cocoa powder, flour, all-purpose flour, and I'm also using a bit of walnuts in my recipe. You can also use pecans, you can also remove the nuts altogether. Now the first step, you need a saucepan, or this step can be done in your microwave. And the first 3 ingredients is going into your saucepan. So we have the butter, the sugar, and the cocoa powder. Okay, so let's put my pan on. Just let it heat a little bit. And we're gonna start first with the butter. Always start with your butter first. So my butter goes in. And again, unsalted butter. Then I have my sugar. So granulated sugar, castor sugar, or even golden castor sugar is fine. Now, before I add my cocoa powder, I'm just going to let the butter melt a bit. So you need to stir it just a bit, and your heat should be on medium, not high heat. Now, we're not going to bring this to a boil. We just want to melt the butter and the sugar. Okay, so I'm going to add now my cocoa powder. Now, if you use a really good quality cocoa powder, of course you're going to have really good tasting brownies. So try to use a good quality cocoa powder in your brownies. And I did not sift the cocoa powder because I'm melting it here, so it's not necessary to sift it. Now, once everything starts to be melted, it's going to look a little bit gritty. Don't worry about that, it will smoothen out as soon as all the other ingredients are melted. Again, you can put this in a heatproof bowl, pop it into your microwave, and do this step. Now I'm going to show you my mixture here. Okay, so if you look at my mixture, you can see that it's melted, but it's not smooth. And also it's not very warm, so I'm going to leave it on a little longer just to make it warm, and also to help melt that sugar. If you don't melt the sugar, what happens is that when you bite into your brownies, you get that really gritty taste in your mouth, and you don't want to have that. See? I'm going to show you this one again. Okay, and at this point, it should be fine. Let's remove it from the stove, and I'm going to keep it on the side just for a little so that it can cool down a bit. So you need to preheat your oven. Preheat your oven at 325 degrees or around 175 degrees Celsius. Make sure you preheat before you start. Now, if you notice my pan that I have here, there are lots of little cavities in them. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that this cavity is coated very nicely with a bit of butter and flour. You can use butter that's melted and flour, however, sometimes you don't get into all these cavities here. So the best thing to use for pans like this is the spray. Okay, so this is a spray release, and this already contains flour. So what I'm going to do, how you use it, first you shake it. Make sure you always shake it. Sometimes you forget to do that. So we shake it. That should be fine. And from a distance, you don't want to spray so closely. From a distance, you just gently spray all over. Make sure you get into all the little cavities so that the brownies will not stick. And this is one of our newest pans in our Nordic Way collection. Okay, so we have our pan prepped already. Now let's get our mixed here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this one into a bowl. All my mixture. So in here we have our butter, our sugar, and our cocoa powder. Now I'm going to add 2 eggs. So you add one at a time. And we are going to whisk it. So make sure this egg is completely disappeared. It has to be disappeared first. Now, if you take this mixture and it's too hot and you add your eggs into it, it's going to cook it. So this is why your mixture needs to be cooled down and not very hot. Now, if you look at my mixture, you can see it starts to smoothen out. I'm going to add my next egg. So this is 2 eggs, and you want to mix this really good. I haven't added any flour in here as yet, so I'm really giving it a good stir. This is already looking super good. Now we're going to add a bit of vanilla extract. If you want to change the flavor in this, you can add a bit of peppermint extract or orange extract. So I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Let's add a little bit more. Whisk it in. And a pinch of salt. So give it another little whisk. Oh, this vanilla smells so good. And this vanilla I'm using is also it's available at our shop, and it smells really good and it's really strong. Now we're going to add our flour. Now when you add the flour, you do not want to overmix. So I'm not going to use my whisk now, I'm going to use a spatula. And I sifted my flour, so my flour has already been sifted. Okay, all in. And with our spatula, we are going to gently fold it in. So we're going to fold this in until you can no longer see any flour. So if you notice, I'm doing this entire thing by hand. Now here my brownies are almost ready, but I'm gonna add some nuts to it. So I'm adding a bit of walnuts. Now, for this walnuts, what I did is first I roasted it because it enhances the flavor and the taste is so much more amazing than if you just chop some walnuts and throw it in. So you can put this on the top of your brownies if you're using just one pan, or I'm gonna add it into my brownies because I'm using tiny little bites. If I put it on top, I can't flip it over after. So I'm going to just fold them in, just gently. Okay, and we're almost done. So now you're probably wondering, how do I get it into this tiny little cavity without making a lot of mess? I'm going to be using this. So it's going to make it much easier for me to pipe into this rather than I'm taking this and trying to fit it into there. So I have a 16-inch piping bag, and you need a stand. If you don't have a stand, you can use a vase, you can use a glass. It's not cut as yet. And I'm going to pour it all into here. Let's get it all in. Now, if you're not going to put it into one of these, you can use an 8x8 square baking pan. This is my mixture. Put this to the side. Twist. So you have all your mixture here, and my mixture is still a bit warm. Hold, and we're gonna cut. Now you would want to cut a little bit big because I have nuts in here. So we snip it off on the side a bit. Make sure nuts can come out. Let's make it a little bit more. And I'm going to pipe them in at least 2/3 up. So you want to keep your tip all the way down to the base of your pan when you're piping. You hold it at a 90 degrees angle. You fill 2/3, you stop squeezing and you come up. Okay, and I'm going to tap my pan down a little because you want to make sure it's hot. And also the bubbles popped up. Or you can take a little skewer if you find it's not even and just run them through quickly. I want to get that nice rustic look to the top, so I don't want it to be too perfect. Okay, and this one here, we're going to pop it in the oven for around 15 to 20 minutes because they're not going to take really long to bake because they're really tiny. And I will be back to show you the finished product. So now our brownies are out and they have been cooling in the pan for about 10 minutes. Now you can try and flip them over, but what I like to do, because there are little crevices in here, I like to just gently place them down, and you want to use a flat spatula and go around the edges lightly and pop them out. Okay, so we're going to pop these out, and you can see the design at the bottom of it, and we're going to flip them over. These are so pretty. And here we go. And here we have our walnut brownies. Okay, now you can even take this, put it on a little plate and put a little scoop of ice cream and serve it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I would see you again. Bye.